Hello and welcome to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me, as always, is my co host and number one Islanders hater, Joe DeMarini. Joe, are you still angry or are you kind of cooled down a bit here?
Uh, yes to both. I've cooled down a bit and I'm still heated. Oh God, I know it's the unpopular opinion. I don't give a fuck if the Penguins won the lottery. It would have sucked.
Uh,
But the Islanders, man, I'm losing my mind. That just peeves me. How are
yeah,
you doing?
I'm doing okay. I went live with Kyle and Steve last night, reacted to it, and I was trying to keep it to a live reaction of what happened because it was worst case scenario for the Flyers. Like, I mean, it could have been someone else winning the lottery. Like, take your pick of your least favorite team. It's the worst case for you. Could have been the worst
Mm-hmm.
case for a lot of people. The Penguins are up there with a chance, but Flyers had a chance. I mean, the lottery balls they needed one of the final ones, and they had a chance to be one. It was the Islanders, and then Utah jumps them to take them their spot at 4. So Flyers
Unreal.
fall from 4 to 6. And in the grand scheme of things, whatever. Like, they still have to get the pick right. They still have to do whatever. But
Well,
they have fewer options now from who to get. Because I was like, all right, Hagens might fall to 4. I'd like Hagens at 4, but
he could still
now
fall to 6.
he still could fall to 6. I know Charlie had him falling to 6 in his initial mock draft there. I know. Who's this guy? This Brady Martin guy that's been like
Oh
kind of climbing up the
God.
charts.
Listen, if the Flyers had won that game against Buffalo, get ready to learn Brady Martin, buddy, because I'm pretty sure that's who they would pick at 9. Uh, but again, holy hell, are we glad that they lost that game to Buffalo? Because they would be picking 9th if they hadn't lost that game, which is, of course.
Yeah, because people are saying like Joe's the draft person here, the prospect person. I'm just much more casual. Go with the go with whatever I'm hearing, whatever like people are saying, like whatever the consolidated rankings are, and like it
Mm-hmm.
seems like there's I mean, the top tier is Schaefer and Misa, and then there's
Yeah.
that 4 of Hagens, Martone, Frandell, McQueen, Desnoyers.
No,
Like,
no, 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 no.
McQueen's not
McQueen
there.
ain't. I mean, on skill alone, maybe, but nobody's taking him that high unless his medical's clear. But I don't expect his medicals to come back all that rosy.
I'm just seeing him 6 here on the Elite Prospects consolidated ranking. So like,
On skill alone, sure,
yeah,
but he's not going to go that high because there's too much risk. I mean, the we haven't even done the draft combine yet. We don't.
yeah.
So that's where they'll get like the injury reports, I assume, and we'll learn some more about other prospects that might not have been on people's radar. Like Jet Luchenko wasn't on anyone's radar
Nope.
until he had the grip strength test by like a crazy margin in both hands. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
he Jet Luchenko looking great down there with the Phantoms. I think they're
yeah,
currently leading their series against the
2-1.
Hershey Bears. Maddie and Jason doing some great content there. So make sure you check that out at broadstreethockey.com. And while you're here, make sure you subscribe to the Broad Street Hockey podcast feed on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Also on YouTube. Gonna be plenty of content up there. Now that we know where the Flyers are picking, we can start digging into who they
Yep.
might have a chance to get here. And yeah, I mean, 6 is, if you told me at the beginning of the season we'd have a fun season and pick 6, sure, great. But like, yeah, you had 4. They were close to moving up to 1, and now it is down to 6. So
Well,
it is tough.
how about that lottery format? That was a lot of fun. I was so
What
stressed out, but it
was it
was really
fun?
fun.
It was.
I
I mean,
mean,
I didn't have the sound on, so it was kind of confusing. But like, I just
mm,
feel like it was a little bit too complicated.
it's better than like the placards that they hold up in order,
Yes,
I
yeah,
think.
it
And the
is.
live updating the live odds as the
That was
balls
cool.
drop,
That
that
was
was
cool.
cool. So,
Yeah.
I think there's room for improvement, but that was actually pretty well done. I didn't like that when they drew the second pick, they cut to Weeks interviewing the GM of the Islanders. I was like, "Oh, I want to see these balls drop. Let's see
Yeah.
these balls drop." Like, come
Let's
on.
watch those balls, baby. Watch the
Let's watch
balls,
these
baby.
balls.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
I don't know
yeah.
who is your guy right now at 6. Who do you want them to get? Who do you think they're going to get?
I don't know. Like, I for me, I would be stoked if they got Caleb Desnoyers, and I know everybody's
Ooh.
like, "Well, it's just a high floor, low ceiling guy," and I'm like, "Do you realize how high his floor might be? Like, he might not be a superstar center, but if his high floor is a very good two-way second line center who has the capability of playing on the first line if need be, that that's a floor. It's a high floor, but we're talking about a top 6 guy. So I don't know. But if Higgins is there, I'd go him. And there is a path. Like, there's also a path that the Flyers get screwed, but and that would be if the board goes Schaefer, Misa, Higgins, Desnoyers, Frondell. The Flyers would have the shot at Porter Martone,
You
but
take
again,
Martone there. You take Martone. You get the big
do you?
winger. You get the big winger to play with Luchenko. I
Do
think you
you?
do. I think you'd have to.
I mean, there's that O'Brien guy, the other JOB
The other
that
Jay
might,
O'Brien,
yeah.
who plays for Brantford, which is the coach that the Flyers are apparently kind of a dark horse candidate there that was teammates with Briere. I think his name is Jay McKee, something McKee.
Okay.
But yeah, so people don't like Desnoyers because he's a high floor. But people also don't like McQueen because it's a very high risk but high reward. Like, you want these big swings, and the Flyers have 2 more picks in the first round. Like, I wouldn't hate taking McQueen. I guess at 6 might be a bit high.
Too high.
Maybe if it falls poorly, you trade down and hope you can get
No.
one of those, McQueen, O'Brien, Brady Martin in like the teens. But
No.
I'm kind of looking at the teams right ahead of the Flyers. You got Utah and you got Nashville. There are 2 teams that are like on the cusp of being ready to compete. Utah was right in it till the final weeks of the season, and Nashville had an awful season, but they have Saros, they have Yossi, they have Stamkos and Marchessault signed to huge
Forsberg.
deals. They have Forsberg. They're ready to go. Like, they might be a team where you can be like, you can trade maybe like a Tippett or a York or whoever you want to trade, plus you're a later first round pick to get 5. Then you get 2 of those guys in the top tier.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying. You're saying like trade the Avalanche pick, but keep the 6th overall.
Yes, trade the Avalanche and the Oilers pick with a player and get 2 of those centers in the second tier.
That, I mean, who are you, Brian Burke? Are you, what is this, the Sedin twins part 2? What are we doing here? That would be crazy. I don't think it's going to happen. I think at best it would be like the Flyers 6th overall plus Owen Tippett to move up to like 4.
I don't, unless they really like Higgins or really like one of these guys. I feel like that would be one of the first moves that Briere made that I would really question, like giving up.
Yeah.
I mean, Tippett can be a top 6 winger. Top 6 winger to move up 2 spots. Like, sure,
No,
we're hearing
agree.
all this hype about people, but I mean, but moving down to 6 makes me say it again. I said it last year. I said it before. Like, I think he's going to trade the pick because this is the most valuable asset the Flyers have that they could move. They're not moving Michkov. And after that, what's the second most valuable asset? Like, maybe Luchenko, if you want to say that. But I think this 6th overall pick is going to be their best trade chip for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I don't think I trade it for a player. I mean, and I don't want to move down. If you're in this tier, you probably, I mean, we said the same thing last year, didn't we? And look what happened. But I mean, one of the teams ahead of them is going to bite on Martone. I bet it's Chicago. You look at their forward group, and they're all smallish, high skill players. They have like no grit up front. And then you look at Utah, Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, like they have a really talented group of forwards, but again, they don't have that bruiser kind of guy who can play in those situations. So I don't think Martone makes it down, which means the Flyers are going to get whatever's left of Desnoyers, Frondell, or Higgins.
That would be fine with me. Like, I know people don't like Desnoyers because he's in the queue or whatever, and we have his brother and he hasn't panned out.
He's a good prospect. Also, Elliot Desnoyers was a 5th round pick. Let's be real.
Yeah. And in Frondell, I'm kind of questioning if they would take him because they passed on the guy last year, Hellenius, who was also a Swedish prospect. I mean, that's
He was
probably
Finnish, wasn't he?
maybe he was Finnish, but I'm not.
I think
They
he was
haven't
Finnish.
really drafted many Europeans since Briere took over. So maybe they. Yeah, I
Is
don't.
that true? I don't think that's true.
I could be wrong. I have no idea. No, they drafted the Jack Berglund. He was Swedish last year, right?
Berglund,
With the late
Heikki
first round pick.
Ruonen,
Yeah,
Heikki Ruonen,
to
Ilya
Amala.
Pautov.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
So
Tuomala wasn't Briere.
first player.
Bjarnason is just a U.S. player. Never mind. Zavragin, Siernik. If you want to go back to 2022, you've got Santeri Sulku as well. And then in 2021, you've got Tuomala, Kolosov. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty mixed. I think they're not like exclusively European. Michkov is technically, I know he's Russian, but that technically is
it's a part of Europe. Yeah, it's part of the European continent there. So if it gets down to if somehow there's a Beckett Seneca where someone reaches for someone and someone wants McQueen at 3 or 4, and it gets down to Hagens versus Martone, who do you think the Flyers go for?
Hagens.
They get that center.
I think. I mean,
people are saying Martone could be a Kachuk type, and you watch the playoffs, and that's what you need. You need these big bodies. You see Matthew Nyes for the Leafs scoring that big goal, throwing the body around.
Flyers have. I mean, he's not as physical, but Tyson Forrester, Tyson. Nyes is a big guy, but he doesn't fight. He's not like a chirper or that pot stirrer in the same way that Matthew Tkachuk is. I probably pick Hagens. I don't know what the Flyers would do. I'm sure they recognize the dire need for a high skill center that can keep up with Michkov and a couple of their other winkers. Honestly, Tippett and DK, Tyson Forrester. They need a strong center. But Flyers are not gonna flyer. All the media guys are I mean, hell, in 2023, they're they're gonna pass on Michkov and take Ryan Leonard because he's a real flyer, and then they didn't, and it's whoa, I guess they're changing a bit. Then last year, it's they're gonna take what's his name? Yeah, what was it, Yakimchuk? Oh yeah, he's gonna take
the big defenseman.
Or Silyev. Oh yeah, they're gonna take Silyev because he's big. Obviously, neither were on the board, but
it's not the same Flyers. It's not your father's Flyers here. It's different. It's a new era of Orange here, going into the next phase here. And Hagens, I like Hagens because he was number 1 for a while. He's dropped down the board because he didn't have an amazing season, but a point per game season in college. I've heard people asking oh, does the Boston College factor matter because that's where Cutter played? But
I mean,
I can't imagine so many years later that he didn't even play with him. I imagine they'll clear that up at an interview or whatnot, but
for sure,
I can't think that would matter.
I mean, I think it's less the Cutter situation and more just the NCAA. We see more and more players kind of taking their destiny in their own hands.
Isaac Howard just said he's coming out, not signing with the Lightning.
Did he say that, or did the GM say he's not signing?
I forget who said it, but someone said it. One of the sides said it.
I think it was Brisbois was yeah, we're not going to be able to sign him. Which is weird, I guess. Maybe he doesn't want to live in Florida, and hey, who can blame him? No, I don't think it's Cutter related. I think it's more just fear over college students saying nah. But that'll come down to due diligence at the interviews, and if they punt on that again, that's a serious red flag.
Talk me into Desnoyers here. So I've heard a bunch of just people not liking him, not thinking he's a good enough for 6. But who knows? At this point,
who knows?
Have you watched tape? Have you read up on him? What do you got?
So I'm not super deep into it. My thing is that every description of Desnoyers is that he is a strong two-way center with serious playmaking ability. He hit a Michigan, so he's not not puck skilled. I know it's the Q, but hitting a Michigan in any league is still not
it's impressive. It's impressive. If hit it on the fucking open skate at your local rink, that's impressive.
So he's not without skill. He just is kind of. I think it's that he's not the best. He's average skater. Like he can get going at speed, but he's not like nimble. He's not gonna fly like Jet Luchenko can. That's not his strength. But I don't know. The player comp to him is Nico Hischier, and I'm like, dude, I would take if you're not gonna have a generational superstar offensive talent as your 1C, get a Selke guy. Get a Selke guy. Like Barkov is the best center on the Panthers. You know, and Hischier's a guy who does get Selke votes, not as a finalist, but he was a finalist a couple of years ago, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he finished second. He's gonna definitely he's gonna get a Selke in the next few years.
So I would be, oh, he's a high floor. He's not going to be a point a game guy. If he's getting Selke votes and is like close to a point a game, I don't know, man. That seems pretty good.
Yeah,
it's just not like the 120 point McKinnon center, but those are few and far between.
Yeah, those are absolutely, and like the Flyers, they have their top end talent. They have Michkov. He's going to be a top talent in the league for the foreseeable future here. So like, I don't mind them going for another Jet Luchenko type, a two-way center. Looking at his elite prospect page here, it says Caleb Desnoyers, player type, cerebral tactician, playmaker, and puck handler. Like pair him. We need
playmakers. Like that is, it's hilarious because the Flyers a decade ago couldn't find a guy to shoot the puck, but now that's all they've got. So they need a guy who can set up their shooters. Tyson Forster's known for his shot. He needs a guy to get him the puck. Tippett, he's up and down with creating his own chances. He needs a guy to get him the puck. Travis Konechny's really good at both, but if you have a guy who can get him the puck, that makes him a dual, like even more threatening. Michkov, we've seen he can do both as well, but if he can get a guy to get him the puck, that's huge. So I want that playmaker. The reason I prefer him to Frondell, partially is to be a contrarian because everybody in the Flyers online sphere seems to want Frondell, and I'm just like, but also I just see like that archetype in Desnoyers, and I'm like, he could work here. He's what the center depth needs.
Yeah, Desnoyers does have an extra 2 inches. He's 6'2". Frondell's 6 foot. Hagen's 5'11". Misa's 6'1".
I'm not worried.
Like, I know, but that's what everyone's talking about. Like, oh, you need a big center in today's league, and yeah, it definitely helps, but it's more so getting the right fit in your system. Like, like the Hurricanes don't have huge centers, but they play a great game. And
Sebastian Aho rules. I would love Sebastian Aho on my first line.
I would love for the Flyers to become the Hurricanes, but with more high-end talent. Like just grind it out, have a system that you can play with there. And yeah, I mean, looking at Frondell, cerebral tactician, dangler, two-way center. Like I feel like I'd be fine with either of those guys, and I have to think
I'm not saying
I will as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't want Frondell. I'm just saying personal preference at this point. And as I do more draft research and also the combine happens and more scouting stuff comes out, especially the EP like 1,000 page draft guide, which is like my favorite thing of the year. I just have a small personal preference for what Desnoyers brings to what Frondell brings. And his player comp is Josh Norris. So I'll take Hischier.
Yeah, Do
you have a preference?
I don't yet. I'm starting to look at some mock drafts right now. Look out for an article on BroadStreetHockey.com. Read and subscribe on Wednesday. Just, a roundup of what mock drafts have the Flyers taking. And I saw one that have them taking Sean Atkinson, like the big defenseman who's in like Aitchison, whatever. But he's like 20 something on Elite Prospects Consolidated. I'm like, that's not what you do there with the 6th overall pick. Maybe if you trade down or something, maybe you do that. But I guess Hagen's is my guy, but like Hagen's should be everybody's guy at 6 if he's there. I might go contrarian and just say, take McQueen. We want the big swing. Take the big swing. I don't know if that's my official take yet, but I feel like the fact that I said that and got that reaction from you, I might just have to lean into that.
Oh yeah, this is your new John Gibson.
Because everyone's like, oh, you don't want the Nolan Patrick, you don't want the Caden Lindstrom. He didn't fall that much, but he missed this year. But you know who else fell due to an injury in his draft year? There you go, Sean Couturier. That was mono.
He wasn't.
I don't know if he had a back injury, but yeah, I mean, if if McQueen was healthy, do you have any idea where he would be? Like, has that been talked about?
Top
Like,
5.
would he be top 3? Like, would he be up there with
Ooh.
Misa?
I don't know. I was reading on The Athletic yesterday, and it was I want to say it was Wheeler. It might have been Pronman. They were interviewing scouts around the league and anonymously, obviously, and
Mhm.
trying to just get a sense like where would McQueen go? And they all said top 5 on talent alone, but he's not going to make it. But he's going to fall to the teens because no team is going to take that risk that high.
Mhm. Yeah,
So we'll see.
I was listening to PHLY. I heard Charlie say this. I might have to steal this take from him. If McQueen falls into the teens, you trade up and grab him. You get Frondell or
Yeah.
Desnoyers at 6. You get that safe center, and then you take one of those later picks and a second round pick, and you go up and get the big swing in the teens.
So I'm not opposed to that. The Athletic released their mock draft today, and at 13, they had Victor Eklund, who is dope.
Mm-hmm.
If Eklund does drop that far, I would absolutely be trying to trade up and get him. He's his player
Frondell's
comp is
teammate.
Travis.
Frondell's
Yeah,
Travis Konechny, is that his player
it's
comp?
Travis Konechny. Yeah,
Love it there. Oh,
and
didn't
he's a
he get?
left wing. He's a natural left wing too, I think. So
Yeah, I saw an Eklund just got like a skate cut. Was that him or the one already in the NHL?
that might be William Eklund. I didn't see
It,
that.
I,
His
I,
brother.
yeah, William Eklund it was. Yeah,
His
he
brother.
got a pretty bad skate cut on his arm. He had surgery. So yeah,
Oh,
his
geez.
brother here. I mean, maybe Eklund, Desnoyers. I got the brothers there. I don't know. I just don't want the Flyers to go off the board at 6. Like 6 is a pick where if you go off the board, you have to trade down. You have to trade down and wait for that. And I think what was reported last year is they wanted to trade down even more, but the Wild were the only team willing to trade up. So,
Yeah.
maybe now they have a month and a half to figure this stuff out. There's an option.
They could trade up.
They could.
I mean,
I was just going to say, like, they could potentially trade up 2-4 with Utah because Utah didn't think they were getting a top pick. I'm sure they're doing their due diligence on all these top picks, no matter what, just in case. But
sure.
they might have their eyes already set on somebody in that teen range. So if you give them 6 and maybe one of the first or an early second to move up to 4 and grab Hagens, I don't hate that. Like we
And
talk about these.
they still get that tier 2 guy.
Yeah, they get Hagens, who was the number 1 overall pick for a while. Like, and
No, Utah still gets a tier.
Yeah. Utah is still able to get whoever falls to them, Frondell, Desnoyers, McQueen, whoever they want there. And yeah, these draft picks are just assets. Like sure, you don't want to like overpay for whatever, but if the Flyers have their sights set on Hagens and he's there at 4, and Utah's willing to trade down, absolutely go for it. I also saw that Sharks GM Mike Grier said they're still willing to trade down. So I wouldn't mind giving up, honestly, all 3 first round picks from Misa.
Yeah, that would be. I would do that.
Yeah.
What if it was the Flyers pick, the Edmonton pick, the Flyers second round pick, and Toronto's 2027 first?
Is that a first?
That they got for Scott Laughton?
That's fine. I mean, from everything I've read about Misa, like he seems like the legit deal. I mean, 134 points in 65 games in the OHL, like 62 goals, 72 assists, 6'1", so he's big enough to play there. Is he definitely going to be a center though? Because I see him listed center left wing. I don't want one of those.
I was reading up on this. He was a center coming up. His coach moved him to left wing last season. And then they moved him back to center this year, and he flourished. So he's better at center than he was at the left wing, but he can play it. I mean, Tyson Forster was a center in juniors, so
that's that's fine, I guess. If he turns out being a winger, if he is that good, like if he's,
I wouldn't count on it. He's gonna be, unless a team already has all their centers, then like whatever.
Okay, so they'll put him at center. My conspiracy theory is that the NHL rigged the lottery for the Islanders so they can get hometown boy James Hagens there, and then you got Schaefer Misa at 2-3.
I thought you were gonna say like the places with new arenas, because the Islanders just got a new arena and Utah's obviously got a new
Well,
arena.
and because the UBS Arena had the All-Star game taken from them, and like their governor or whatever wrote a letter to the NHL, and suddenly they win the lottery. So it's funny how that works.
Wow. Oh wow. But we all thought it happened and we're like, nah, that's just one of the odds.
Is there anyone kind of down the board you're looking at for that 24th, 25th pick, wherever the Avalanche land and wherever the Oilers land?
Not yet. I know the name Ivan Ryabkin has come up
Yes.
a lot. We'll see how the combine goes. Some people are saying he might even be a second round pick at this point. So I don't know. If he does more to improve his stock and turn into like a late first round pick, I might take him. But if he kind of is where he is now, I might see if I can get him early on day 2.
Yeah, because he seems like to have fallen due to like an attitude, work ethic issue, not anything with his skill. And like if the Flyers talk to him, we're like, hey, we'll bring you over. You play with Michkov, like you have a.
He's already here.
He's here. He's all right. He's in the USHL, right? Yeah. 30 points, 27 games. Like, all right, you come here. Is he going to college next year? Is he committed anywhere? No, he's not. So
no.
Yeah, I would. He's my guy that I want. I would take him with one of the late first, just to make sure you get him if he looks like a guy that the Flyers want.
Yeah, because what's their first pick day? 236, I think.
Yeah, I think
right?
It's because it's the 4th pick. It's where they So it's 32 plus 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends where Edmonton ends up. Like if Edmonton wins the cup and Ryabkin is still there at 32, maybe you just like wing it and hope he stays there for 4 more picks the next day.
I mean, it can't be worse than the Jack Berglund pick that everyone was like, "What? Like, who is this? What are you doing?" Or who's the big defenseman? Spencer Gill. They got. Is that his name?
Well, Spencer Gill's a fine pick. Okay. It was Berglund that everybody's like, really? I know that Prodman originally mocked Milton Gastrin to the Flyers a month or so ago with one of those picks, which that'd be fine. I think I don't have any serious issues with that. Who else popped out? Malcolm Spence is someone that I've kind of like caught my eye. But I'm honestly looking at just position over everything at this point. Just we know how dire their needs are at center, defense, kind of, and left wing. So that's where I've been putting my attention so far.
Yeah, Malcolm Spence here is 10 overall on the consolidated rankings. So if he falls down, yeah, I mean, I'm all about just follow the rankings, whatever fit you want. That's basically what I base my opinion off there. It's just like, all right, go get the best player available. Like if it is a defenseman, whatever, it's a defenseman. It's hard to find those top defensemen. It's great to have defenseman depth. Like you see the Golden Knights, they have Noah Hannafin on their 3rd pair. Like that's a luxury to have that depth on the blue line. And at center, like they definitely need a center.
Who, Golden Knights?
No, the Flyers.
The Flyers. Yeah. I was like,
I mean, the Golden Knights could probably use a center too. I'm not sure. I guess they have Eichel, Hurdle,
Carlson.
They have Carlson on the wing right now, so they have plenty of center depth there.
Yeah, who's playing their 3C right now? That must be a.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
they're Vegas. They figure it out.
Yeah, I just know. I remember last year, leading up to the draft, we did like in depth on a bunch of different guys. Like, who would you rather have here? And we mentioned Luchenko like maybe once, if they traded up or traded back, and it was like, all right, then they got Luchenko. It's like all for a waste, but. I imagine here, unless the Flyers make some sort of massive trade for a roster player, they'll get one of these 5 guys we're talking about.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think they'll trade back. I think you just make the pick. Although the 6th overall pick is kind of cursed. Like it is.
There's some good options. Jamie Drysdale.
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk also.
Matthew Tkachuk, sure.
Mo Seider. Um, why is this? Why is this? Oh, it's showing by. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Phillips Dina, Cody Glass, Pavel Zacha, Jake Virtanen, Sean Monahan, Mika Zibanejad,
I mean, Zibanejad, okay.
former Flyers Sam Gagne and Derek Brassard, Scotty Upshaw, Scott Hartnell, Mikko Koivu. Like, there's some guys. Peter Forsberg.
Some guys. That's
There's
exactly
guys.
right. Some
There's
guys.
Paul Coffey. Like, some guys
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
From
All right. Let's go get Paul Coffey.
So from 1974 to 1977 at sixth overall, it was Doug, Don, and Doug picked sixth overall. So a bunch of
Wow.
quadruple D's there for pick six.
Commitment to the bit.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I did skeet out yesterday.
Skeeted it.
I did, but after in the immediate wake of the draft, I was like, I'm suddenly a lot less confident in this rebuild after that drop. I was being dramatic.
John, what are you doing?
I was being dramatic, but in my head, I was like, they're gonna pick fourth. They're gonna have their choice of one of these three realistically centers.
Yeah.
And now they get one of one. And if it's not their guy, I don't know. Maybe they reach, maybe, I don't know. It makes me a little bit less certain.
Yeah, looking at the teams ahead of them, like, I don't think the Blackhawks take a center. I think the Blackhawks will take
Martone.
I think he's going to go there. Utah, you mentioned their young guys there, so I don't know if they'll take Higgins.
They would. He's Logan Cooley 2.0. They've already got Logan Cooley.
That's the player comparison, right? So that's why I think Utah could trade down with the Flyers. Like, I just don't know what it would cost to,
or they just take
for the Flyers to trade up. Yeah. Or they take Eklund if they think he's that sick and they want that. Or,
that's true. That's true.
Or Utah reaches for defensemen. Like, we know they need defensemen. They traded for Sergachev last off season, so maybe they trade down and get a defenseman at 6.
I wouldn't say they need defensemen. They've got a pretty good one coming. Dmitry Simashev.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else? They have another defenseman that might be really. Maverick Lamoureux. He might actually end up being not too shabby.
Maverick. All right.
Yeah. So they've got guys, and now they have Sergachev, who is only like 26 years old. So like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, but I do think Utah will be shopping that pick. I think the Predators should realistically be shopping that pick. I don't know if the Flyers have what they would want. Like, my dream scenario is the Flyers trade their pick for Tage Thompson, but I could see the Predators maybe doing that better because they need a center as well. If the Flyers are like, if their scouts are like, no, we don't want Frondell or we don't want Desnoyers, and that's who they all have left there at 6, it's kind of like, what do we do? Like, do we just trade down? Like, it's because like I said before, you can't reach 2 years in a row, especially at 6.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Someone is going to get, like, Jake O'Brien has been one of those late risers, and so is Brady Martin. I don't know if they'll rise that high, like above the Flyers, to knock someone down. But we talked about Seneca last year. You just never know who's gonna make that reach. Or the year before, when the Coyotes, rest in peace, took Simashev at 5th overall. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, and Craig Budden does have Brady Martin going to the Flyers, and he was one of the people that had the Flyers interested in Luchenko last year. So maybe he has some sort of source with the Flyers. Maybe he got lucky with a guess, but I don't know. Apparently he's a late riser. Let me see. Where is he at on 19 on the consolidated rankings? Says he's a heavy hitter, physical forward, two-way center. Like, that sounds classic, like 2000s and before Flyers.
Yeah, but the Flyers haven't been drafting that way, so maybe, who knows? Like, also, I do just want to point out 2022 draft. You know who the late riser that went earlier than expected was?
Was that Bonk's year?
It was Cutter Gauthier.
There you go. Flyers have a pattern there, I guess. The late risers. But looking at Martin's rankings here on elite prospects, the highest anyone has him is 12. McKean's Hockey has him 12. Sportsnet has him 12, and then he's 11th for North American skaters. So like maybe that changes, maybe that does go up as we get closer to the draft, but
Wheeler has him at 10 on the Athletic. So
as a ranking or as a mock draft?
As a ranking.
Okay.
Scott Wheeler has him at 10.
That's interesting.
It is interesting because he's usually not the player archetype that Wheeler highlights, So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just if the Flyers are out on one of these guys and that's all they have left, that's my main worry, is like you're caught between a rock and a hard place there. You're on the clock for 10 minutes and like a team knows they can squeeze you if you're on the clock and you're trying to talk to them for a trade.
Yeah. All right. Is that enough draft talk for now, considering we have a month and a half?
Yeah, that's enough draft talk. Kind of in a similar vein. I mentioned the Phantoms before, but the Phantoms all playing well. You got Luchenko, you got Bump playing well down there. I saw how Grans is having a good playoffs. Like and Briere talked about wanting to have internal competition. Like I feel like that opens the door for some trades this offseason. Because like if Bump is ready, like who are you just going to knock off? And no team is going to trade for someone during training camp. They have their own battles going on. So you could see some of these Palings, maybe a Hathaway, someone like that. Maybe they do move a Zamula or a Brink. or a Peltier. Like maybe they're just not selling him. But I like Pelts. But they have a lot of the same type of wingers that, if they could move one for Marco Rossi, perfect.
Yeah. No, I think we should be prepared to maybe say some goodbyes this summer. And it's not that like Briere said in the exit interview, we're looking to add if we can, right? It has to make sense, the catchphrase, to add. If they're going to do that, they need roster spots for players to fill, especially if they're going to add. If they can kill two birds with one stone and trade out like two guys as part of a package to get one guy back, you've cleared a roster spot for a prospect plus the new guy in that scenario. So we'll see. But I expect to say goodbye to a few people, not because there's a locker room problem, not because it's a rebuilding, we got to get more draft picks moved, but because from a logistical standpoint, there's only so much ice to go around, and they have so many players already in the system. And Briere highlighted in that conference, making 7 picks would be ridiculous because how are we going to get them all ice time in 3 years? So,
exactly. Owen Tippett and Ryan Paling for Marco Rossi. You swap Tippett for Rossi, a winger for a center. Give them Paling so they get a center back as well to put in their bottom 6, and you open up a winger spot for Grabenkin too. I forgot about Grabenkin. Grabenkin, Bump, like there's guys that are going to be fighting for a roster spot.
Oh, I thought you meant throw Grabenkin.
Oh no! Don't trade Grabenkin. He's someone who might take that roster spot there.
Yeah.
And I do think. Go ahead.
No. This is unrelated. Go ahead.
This is somewhat related. I do think we may have seen the last game in a Flyer sweater for one Nicolas Delorier.
He does only have 1 year left, doesn't he?
And the Flyers will be like, hey, like we're kind of clearing out contracts. Do you want to go somewhere where you can actually get more playing time? I'm not sure where he's from, if he wants to go closer to his home,
Canadian,
but
right?
Well, he's okay. Let's try. He's from Quebec, so you can trade him up.
Delorier
to Montreal.
You're sitting here telling me that a guy named Delorier is from Quebec? Nah, no shot, man. There's no way that Delorier is from Quebec.
Yeah, so Quebec, maybe trade him up to Montreal. He got drafted by the Kings. Maybe trade him out there. He's played for the Ducks, played for the Wild before. Maybe throw him in that deal with those guys. Yeah, I think
send him to the Leafs.
Send him to the Leafs. Need someone. Leafs need someone.
They still got Reeves.
Yeah, they do still have Reeves, but I think more realistically though, the Wild try to go for Brink in that deal, and
Hometown boy.
I can't see the Flyers trading Brink after the season he had. He won
Well,
that award too. We haven't even talked about that. He won
did.
the was that the most improved award he
I
won?
think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Hometown boy. I mean, I can see it. I can see it. I know it would break your heart, along with I think Ryan Quigley would also be brokenhearted about losing Bobby Brink. Like, we'd regret that trade for years. And I'm like,
Yeah.
But if it brings in Marco Rossi, maybe.
Yeah, I would not mind bringing Marco Rossi, but I mean a smallish center there from Rossi. So maybe if they trade for Rossi before the draft, that changes what they go for at the draft. But I don't know if it really should have that much of an impact.
But anyway, the question I was going to ask: what is your opening night lineup, including trades and prospects that make the roster out of camp?
This is something I've been trying to think about for an article. So,
okay. Spoiler alert.
You want me to go through the whole roster here?
Yeah, let's do it. We got time.
So let me look at the Flyers' current lines, or the lines they had in their final game there.
Yeah, what else are we going to talk about? It's the off season for the Flyers. I know the playoffs are on, and we can talk about the Stolars, the Bennett hit, but let's do this first.
And the coaching search too, but who knows what's going to happen? Like, whatever. We'll talk about that when it actually happens, or when there's something more concrete.
There's no news. Yeah.
You keep the taking care of business line together. Typho, Cates, and Brink. You keep that line together. It's probably the second line. Michkov, Rossi, and Konechny. I feel like they're all kind of small, though. I don't know if that would be a line there. Third line center. Then you got Luchenko on the third line with who's going to be with? I don't know here. You put them in the spot, Joe. I mean, I feel like Rossi's going to come in. I feel like Tippett or Brink are gonna go out. Delaria goes out. Fourth line, Paling, Hathaway. Oh, I got him trading Paling. This is why this can't be done live on a podcast, Joe. It just can't.
Really? Okay.
Do you have any predictions?
I do. I don't think they're going to get Rossi. As much as we want it to happen, I don't.
Who are they going to get then?
Rossi. Michael Misa. I think they're going to trade up. I think they're going to trade up.
How?
Yeah.
How are they going to get Michael Misa? Pick 6 and then all 3 first rounds?
No. I think the Sharks are going to want to bring in some supporting cast to help with the transition. I think it'll cost you 6th overall. I think it will also cost you, because in my mind, they've got William Eklund. His brother's in this draft.
So they want Victor Eklund.
They trade back and they get Victor Eklund.
So what are you giving up with 6?
So 6th overall, probably the Colorado pick.
Okay.
I would say probably even a high 2nd round pick, which would be the Anaheim pick, I imagine.
Yeah, one of those 3.
And I think you have to give up a roster player, and a good one.
I have a name in my head,
but it's going to be a vet. So it's probably, maybe it's Hathaway, but I don't think that's enough.
It has to be someone of that has like actual on ice value, I think.
Yeah, it could be Tippett maybe, or Risto. Honestly, like, I know
Risto,
hurt, but
he's gonna miss training camp, so I don't know if the Sharks would trade for him. But California boy, Cam York.
Yeah. I'm looking at their defense right now, and it is brutal. Maybe they would go for Cam York. Jesus Christ. Their defense: Henry Thrun, Timothy Liljegren, Lucas Carlson, Jan Ruda, Jimmy Schultz, and Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Because Mario Ferraro was out with injury. Shakir Mukhamadullin was also out with injury. Like, Jesus Christ, man, that is they need someone.
So
there.
that's only if Schaefer goes 1, because if Schaefer's there at 2, they'll just take Schaefer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But if Hagens goes 1 and you have a chance to get Misa at 2, or if Schaefer goes 1 to pair with Dobson and you get Misa at 2, and you give up
if Hagens goes 1, then Schaefer's available at 2, and they just pick Schaefer and they wouldn't trade the pick.
So our ideal scenario now is Hagens.
No.
Hagen's to New York.
No, Schaefer.
No,
Because
for the trade, yes, for your trade. But I have another scenario here.
Okay.
You want to hear it? You want to hear it?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
you got Hagen's to New York. Stay on Long Island there.
Yeah.
Sharks get Schaefer.
Yeah.
Blackhawks get Martone because they already have their centers.
Okay.
Flyers trade up with Utah to get Misa.
I mean, it could work. My thing is that
I don't think Misa gets past Chicago there, but it could happen.
Yeah,
They could fall in love with Martone.
They'd just be like, "Oh, you can play on the wing.
You can play wing with Bedard. Perfect.
2C."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't think they do that. But if they like are wishy-washy on adding another forward who's kind of in the similar vein to what they already have, I could see them doing something. But okay. I mean, there is a path where Misa falls to 4, but I don't think he'd get much further than that.
Some Flyers fans need to go to Michael Misa's outside his hotel room the night before the combine and keep him up all night so he has bad combine results and he falls down.
Yeah. Also, wouldn't it be fun to have a Mike and Mike line?
Oh, the mics between two mics.
Between two mics. Well, no. He'd be the one in the middle. So we need who did I have? Tyson on the left. So
you got Misa Michkov too. Like there's something you can go with there. Eminem, the Eminem
line.
Yeah,
there we go. Trademark, copyright.
Yeah, could do that with Martone too if you put Martone on the opposite side of him.
The Eminem line. There you go.
Yeah.
Then they need one more M player.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I just imagine Danny Briere is really upset and disappointed with this, but I also could see him being
a fly on that wall. To have been a fly on his wall last night must have been a trip. Anyway,
I could see him though being kind of motivated for this to be like, all right, now I have more paths to trade. Let me call up Utah. Let me see what they want. Let me call my career in San Jose. Let me see if I can trade up to number 2 potentially. Like I think he's like, all right, let's get to work now. There's going to be options for us. If someone falls to 6, great. If not, I'm going to have a few trades set up and see what happens on draft night.
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, everyone's saying, "Oh, this is the year a top pick is going to get traded," and then like it never happens. But hey, maybe this really is the year that it happens. And if it is with San Jose, baller.
Yeah, that would be great there. So, yeah, but yeah, going back to it, I do think there are going to be a few roster players traded, and so okay. So, but if they don't get Misa and they don't get Rossi, are they getting a center, or are they going to just roll with Couturier, Cates, Luchenko, and Palin?
Well, I think if they get a center at 6, that player is not going to be NHL ready. So I don't think he'll be on the roster.
So, but most Flyers fans think they're going to get Rossi. And you say they're not going to get Rossi, and if they don't get Misa, are they getting a free agent? Are they trading for somebody? What are you thinking there?
John Tavares. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I would not hate the Flyers giving John Tavares like a 2-year massive deal just to have like a little stopgap there.
I'd love that. I would eat that up. But no, I think I don't know. Maybe we talk about offer sheets all the time. Maybe they try and offer sheets.
Who are they going to offer sheet though? I mean, I don't think there's any. I mean, I know Nyes is out there. I don't think he's going to offer sheet.
Not a center.
Gabe Vilardi is not really a center either. McTavish, I would love McTavish, and we talked about it. The Ducks are a cheap organization, so they might not match it.
I just don't know if the Flyers are willing to give up an unprotected 2026 first.
I feel like if you go get McTavish, then you go get a goalie, and then you're not as worried about that. Like because they need to take a step forward this offseason so they can take that huge step forward next offseason when McDavid, Eichel, these other guys are pending free agents.
Boy, do the Wild need to lock up Kaprizov. That playoff performance, you're like, oh shit, they better get that deal done, man. They got to get that done.
They gave Vegas a great scare there. They got Eric's neck back. They got Kaprizov back. Matt Boldy, what a player he is. So
they almost had it too. Just one wonky bounce in overtime, and that was it.
It's playoff hockey.
The playoffs, man.
Playoff hockey.
So should we talk about the playoffs? How did your bracket?
I was
turn
gonna
out?
mention ask if you had any new goalie targets to rival my John Gibson take.
I do, and there will be an article coming hopefully this week, early next week, if not. Guys, we got to trade for Stuart Skinner, and there are myriad reasons. Number one, he only has a year left on his contract. It's $2.6 million. He is 26 years old, and goalies of the 1A, kind of like tandem starter quality, do not hit their stride until age 27, 28. Edmonton can't afford to wait for him to develop another year, but the Flyers sure can, and he would be a great tandem option for the Flyers. Plus, Edmonton's going to be desperate. Cal Pickard is starting game 1 of round 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is a opportunity ripe for the Flyers to strike. I'd be willing to give up as much as a 3rd round pick, but I ideally would go for a 4th, because they need to clear cap space to do other stuff this offseason, and that might be it. Maybe go get a real goalie.
Yeah, my initial reaction to that was I don't know if I want Stuart Skinner, but looking at his numbers, he's 26, going on 27 in November.
Mm-hmm.
896 this year, 905 the year before, 913 the year before, and we know the Oilers don't have great defense in front of him. So goalie changes system. He steps up in a big way. We saw that with Blackwood in Colorado. We've seen that with goalies left and right. Logan Thompson was a kind of a backup ish in Vegas. He goes to Washington. He's great.
Joey Decord, Aiden Hill stepped up in the playoffs for Vegas. All of these goalies. This article is going to come this week. I think it's done. It is that we shouldn't give up on Sam Ersson because he's still too young to be in the same realm as these goalies.
Mm-hmm.
None of the goalies I cite in this article are probably available. Like Philip Gustafson, he was outstanding for half the year. Yeah. There's no way the Wild give up on him. So Skinner's really in that niche for me.
Yeah, I just wonder from the Oilers' perspective, unless Skinner is fed up and asks for a trade, why they would trade him. And I guess any cap space, but his salary is not that much. And more so, what goalie is going to start for them? Maybe like you said, they go get Gibson. Friedman.
Swayman.
That's what I was going to say. Friedman floated that recently.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take the drama away from you.
No, you're good. Yes, the Bruins have Swayman, they have Pasta, but that's all they have, and they could probably get a pretty good package for Swayman. He did not look the same this year. He looked, good at times later on.
He had extenuating circumstances, aka management jerking him around on his contract, so they missed the preseason and the first game of the year.
Yeah.
But man, if you want a goalie, that's kind of the guy you got to go get if you're Edmonton. Mm-hmm. He's 26, I think. Signed long term. It's an expensive deal, but if Edmonton is trying to clear cap, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, so Skinner would be there's not many options out there on the free agent market. I still wouldn't mind John Gibson depending on the price, but if Skinner is available, I'm going to join that wagon
for cheap. For cheap.
Yeah. Yes. That's the important thing. So yeah, let's get to the playoffs, Joe. Are you asking me how my bracket looks because you know how it looks?
Oh, mine's a disaster.
Okay, I don't know if I posted this anywhere. I did write a predictions article for another site, but
okay.
My bracket. Let's just go. Well, let me just, no anticipation here. My Stanley Cup final was the Avalanche over the Lightning, so both of them are out. I did have the Jets. Okay. I had them in 5 games though. I had the Avs in 7, so it looked like they had it. And then Mikko Rantanen just completely turned it on there.
Dude, incredible.
Yeah, I had Vegas in 6, so that was exactly correct. I had the Kings in 7, and what was Jim Hiller doing? Rob Blake fired finally for the Kings, so Danny Briere can't rob him for Quinton Byfield there. I did have Carolina. I had them in a sweep. I'm shocked the Devils won 1 game with no defenseman. I had the Capitals in 6.
How about Markstrom though?
Markstrom was huge in those overtimes. Absolutely incredible. And then how about Markstrom, slashing his own guy when he was going after Svechnikov in one of the early games, and
So crazy.
and then nearly just launching his stick after giving up the series winning goal. It's crazy.
I felt bad for him, honestly. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't even know who they had dressed on defense because like they didn't have Luke Hughes, they didn't have Brendan Dillon, like they just were, and they didn't have their top guys obviously. So they have Dumoulin, Pesci, Siegenthaler, Hamilton, and then Seamus Casey and Simon Nemec, who he played well. He had that big overtime goal for them.
That was so cool, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you gotta respect that.
Yeah. How bad's your bracket looking?
I'm trying to log in real quick. Let me see if I can get this done.
What, you're having troubles logging into NHL.com? They make it a breeze, Joe. NHL's great with that stuff. Yeah.
Apparently not. Maybe I just forgot my password. Anyway, the Atlantic and the Atlantic side of my bracket is completely busted, and so is the Pacific.
You had the Wild winning?
No, I had the Kings beating the Oilers.
Okay.
And then going to the conference final.
Gotcha.
So I had the Kings going to the conference final. And I had the Lightning also going to the conference final. Yeah. But my cup's still in play. I had Dallas over the Canes. So
that would be a good series. I know that the Canes have never been able to get it done in the playoffs, but I mean,
they've got the path. Oh, I also had the Sens over the Leafs. Not because I actually thought the Sens were going to win, just because that was the fun thing to do.
Yeah. If it happened, you're like, yeah, great. I picked it. And
they had us.
The Leafs almost blew it. Yeah, Leafs almost blew it.
They had us going.
Yeah,
but I think the real story is the game sevens of that round one between the Stars and Avs, the Rantanen hat trick 4-point night, and then the Jets tying it with 1.6 seconds left to force overtime and then winning the series in second overtime from the captain. Bro, the writing this season has been peak.
Yeah, no Scheifele for game 7. Josh Morrissey leaves early. Neil Pionk plays like an insane amount of minutes. And Connor Hellebuck, I mean, everyone clowned on him all series long for good reason. He was awful
he was
in that series.
He got pulled twice.
He got pulled twice. Yeah, he got back-to-back games. He gave up, I think, 6 and 5 or something. But yeah, he locked in. He's got that monkey off his back now. He finally won a playoff series here in the past few years. So I really like the Stars against them here in the second round. But if they get Scheifele and Morrissey back, they have a chance. But I mean, Dallas is getting Robertson and Heiskanen back, so they're the Cup favorites for a reason.
And Ottinger's a better proven playoff goaltender.
Yeah, and Pete DeBoer just cannot lose a game 7. So get to game 7 and you advance.
9-0. Yeah, like a career 9-0 in game 7. Everybody's like, yeah, that doesn't factor in, and for some reason, it just keeps happening. It's wild.
I also heard on Third Two Thoughts that Jim Montgomery has coached in like 4 game 7s and they've all gone to overtime.
That's
I mean,
imagine being a St. Louis Blues fan.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
You turn off the TV with a minute to go and you're like, I'm going to sleep. They've got this one wrapped up, and you wake up and it's like Jets advance. You're like, what the hell happened?
Well, I don't think anyone turned it off with a minute ago and went to sleep. But like, just imagine being a Blues fan. You're up 3-1. You're like, all right, we got this. They're going to pull the goalie. We're going to an empty netter. We can celebrate and whatnot. But I don't know. If that happened to the Flyers, there would be a lot wrong going on in the city of Philadelphia.
Oh, we would be feral, dude.
Yeah. But imagine that game 7 happening in Winnipeg, happening in Philadelphia, and the Flyers coming back, and that's what we need. We need playoff hockey back in Philadelphia. But
God, do we?
But I don't want to be one of these teams that's just like, happy to be in it. If you win a round, it's happy. We need to be consistent contenders year after year.
Yep.
Like the Canes, like these teams that are going to be there and have a legit chance for the Cup. Like the Stars. You wrote that article middle of the season. Look to the Stars for the Flyers rebuild path. So
yeah,
they're looking pretty good right now.
Mostly just hit on your draft picks and develop them well, because they didn't trade out a ton of first round picks or any. Well, they have now, but in the building eras, they didn't trade. Like the biggest trade they made was for Tyler Seguin, which was an enormous deal, but that was it. They traded a first for I think Nils Lundqvist or something like a couple years ago from the New York Rangers. Like,
oh, maybe
was that his name? Nils Lundqvist?
that is his name. I'm pretty sure.
But they traded a first for him, and it was kind of like,
yeah, conditional first.
Yeah, and it was kind of like one of those, okay, Dallas, you can have one silly trade as a treat.
Yeah.
Because he never really turned out to be anything.
No, but I mean, they're looking good. So we both like the Stars in that series. Vegas Edmonton starts tonight.
Go Vegas.
I think Vegas has it. I mean, Edmonton shouldn't have won the first round. But once McDavid and Draisaitl get rolling, they can. It's hard to stop them, but it's Cal Pickard in net. It's Cal Pickard in net. I mean, the Oilers need the best thing for the Oilers would be to lose like 5-0 game one and go back to Skinner in game two because he locked in last year after getting pulled and then going back in. But Vegas is very deep. I mean, they're one of the best.
They're healthy too.
They're healthy, yeah. I mean, they just have Dorofeyev. I think is day to day, but you know,
what a player, dude. Dorofeyev has been unreal.
Casually scoring 30 goals, like no big deal there for them. Leafs up 1-0 over the Panthers. Anthony Stolarz elbowed in the head by Sam Bennett a few minutes after taking a puck to the mask. Pukes on the bench, goes to the hospital on a stretcher during the third period. I saw earlier today he's not yet ruled out for game two, but what was your take on that hit or whatever by Bennett?
So I turned off the game because I was so mad about the draft lottery that I was like, I can't deal with hockey right now. I can't watch any hockey right now. I'm so mad. I made myself this beautiful little dinner. It's ramp season, so I fried up some ramps, and then I couldn't even eat it because the draft lottery was happening, and I was just like too locked in. And then we lost, and I'm like, I'm not watching hockey tonight. I can't do this. So I tuned out and then went to bed early. But I saw the highlights this morning, and I was like, ooh, that's doesn't look good, especially because this is the guy who clocked Brad Marchand last year.
Yeah.
And has
all of his bad hits are just all over social media. Like he it's just something. It's just bad luck for Sam Bennett. He goes near a guy and they get a concussion. It's bad luck.
He's cursed. He's like you know the show The Fairly Odd Parents?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
There's one episode where the mom goes, everything I touch dies. Sam Bennett is just like, everything I touch gets concussed. So, you know, I can't believe he didn't get a game or even a fine. It seems like that. What's the point of goaltender interference if you're not gonna, protect the goalie?
I'm not surprised by anything the Department of Player Safety does, and I didn't think he would get anything because there was nothing called on the ice, which doesn't necessarily mean anything because we saw Ekblad get 2 games for something that didn't get called on the ice, but it wasn't egregious. Like it can be argued that Bennett was just like off balance or leaning, whatever. But it's gonna get out of hand tomorrow night in game 2.
Who you got in the series?
I have the Panthers. Especially now if Stolarz is out. The Panthers are they're so deep, and their penalty kill is great. They took five penalties, killed all of them off, and that's how the Oilers were so good last year. And I mean, Bob in net, not a great game against the Leafs, but he can get back in there.
He can afford a clunker every now and then because we've seen what he can do when he's good. Yeah. I've got the Panthers too. I actually kind of want the Panthers. Not like
everyone's rooting for the Leafs. Everyone's rooting for the Leafs. I don't. I kind of get it, like for Flyers fans, Scott Laughton and everything. But
I love a villain. I really like a villain, and cheering for the Panthers is just kind of like fun. Also, they're fun as hell. Like watching the Panthers play hockey rules. Like I'm not.
I really like Paul Maurice too. I think he's a great guy. Good quote as well there. So. Yeah, Cats are also a good villain to have.
Speaking of Scott Laughton, I posted this on Blue Sky. Friend of the pod, Micah over at HockeyViz, posted a chart with the caption, Panthers were able to expose Scott Laughton in a way that the Senators could not. Beaten like a rug in his minutes in shots and chances and goals. So, poor Scotty. Poor Scoot.
Poor Scotty there. And then the last
Saints,
series,
Caps.
which on paper does not look that interesting, but
Snooze.
I could see it kind of getting feisty. This is the one series I don't really have a strong take on. I think Washington wins only because Carolina just cannot win on the road. They're awful on the road.
I have the Canes in the Cup Finals, so I have to go Carolina here. I don't know. I mean, we've been underrating the Caps all season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when does the magic run out? I guess is what happens. I still got the Canes 6, probably.
Canes 6, yeah. I think the Capitals are getting Alexei Protas back. I think he was back for Game 5 last series. He's playing fourth line minutes now, but I imagine he'll get back up in the top 6 for probably Beauvillier if they go down in the series.
Yeah, that also might just be load management, keeping him skating but not over leveraging him. So
yeah, it's like all right, we're playing Montreal, we're at home, get some fourth line minutes in there. It's fine.
That was a fun series too.
It was. Montreal is going to be a tough out for a while.
I know. I've got an article cooking probably later this summer. We'll see how things go, but the Flyers, their come up might be perfectly timed to get through a weak Metropolitan Division. Like the Atlantic is just going to turn over from the Leafs, Panthers, Lightning to the Sens, Habs, and maybe the Red Wings at some point. But I think the Panthers are going to be around for quite a while.
And like the Leafs and Lightning will probably be around. Maybe not the Lightning because they don't have a ton of younger guys, but the Leafs are always going to be decent now.
That's still going to be a tough division. But the Metro, until New Jersey does anything, I don't believe in them as a team. The Caps are going to be good. I don't think they'll be this good year in and year out.
No.
The Canes, again, if they finally get it done, then cool, but also just a good team, not an outrageously excellent team like some of the ones out west. Islanders are on a downswing, even though they won the pick. Fuck the Islanders. The Rangers are a mess. Who am I?
Pittsburgh. You're forgetting Pittsburgh. They're on downswing. You're forgetting Columbus. Columbus could be a wild card because they were good this year. They have some young pieces.
So, yeah, but I don't. I see a path where the Flyers could make themselves the best of that bunch and put themselves in a position to cruise to Stanley Cup Conference Finals and Stanley Cup Finals because the division just isn't going to be nearly as strong as this year's Central or the Atlantic.
Yeah,
it just I don't see those teams coming to that level at the same time the Flyers will.
Yeah, so, and that helps in the long run too, because if you're one of the top teams in the division in a bad division where you have bottom teams you can kind of beat up on, it gives you some leeway down the stretch to rest guys if you need to, take it kind of easier and stretch it out for the long run.
That's true.
All right. We have nothing to close it out with now. We got no tankathon. We got no upcoming games. Yeah, so Joe, where can people find you?
Yeah, we got to find a new exit option now. No, you can find me on Blue Sky at jfdmarini.bsky.social. Gilbs, where can they find you?
You can find me also on Blue Sky, ryangilbert.bsky.social. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed, like and subscribe on YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Read and subscribe on broadstreethockey.com. Plenty of draft stuff coming up there. So, until next time, thanks for listening.
Fuck the Islanders. Go Flyers.